By quoting this particular verse from Isa Bandu Upanishad, I first prostrate myself at the lotus feet of the absolute Rama, who himself is so very complete, so very comprehensive, that whatever progeny traces from the Supreme Brahma has to be so very complete, so very comprehensive. If you happen to take few drops of water from that of ocean, it makes no tangible impact on the ocean. That is by prostrating, paying my obeisance to ultimate reality. Today, it happens to be history is being created across the world. Apart from Honorable Prime Minister, Purush of this particular age and era, Sri Modi dedicating Sanatana Dharma, Ram to humanity. Here, from this particular august podium, we have already made a clarion call across the geographical boundary of India and Nepal. Only book, Sanatana Rama, has been launched. It has heralded the journey of Rama in the macroscopic vision of that of macrocosmic perspective of Lord Sri Ram. Now, on dais, of course, all the dignitaries, Bastolaji, Sri Bastolaji, Swami revered His Holiness Sri Bastolaji, whom I serendipitously though came across in Puri, that is, I think 2018, when my first book, that was the pioneer book in the world on living legends, the living legends of Mithila was launched on the occasion of Silver Jubilee celebration of Govardhan Peeth. It was as I serendipitously stumbled upon Sri Bastolaji, and there I got introduced to him. I pay my deep respect to one of the greatest scholars of India and Nepal today. Sir, accept my prostration at your feet. It was again in the year 2015, again I wouldn't say serendipitously, but nevertheless accidentally, I came in direct contact with then His Excellency, the first Vice President of Nepal, respected Honorable Sri Ramanand Babu, because I had no introduction, no recommendation. Despite that, he was the man who gave me all the privileges, and that afforded me to write a book, that is the Living Legends of Mithila. I touch his feet with deep reverence. This apart, we do have Sanatana Rama. I will discuss a bit later that how Ramanand's transformation into that of Sanatana Rama was brought by the grace of God through my pen. So he has become a Sanatana Rama. It is a historic, divine bestowal of gift upon him that how I serendipitously got in contact with him barely 4 months ago and see the crystallization of history being created here in the august auditorium in the presence of galaxy of intellectuals from the intelligentsia class. So definitely his presence, august presence, is illuminating this very auditorium. We have Sri Chintamani Ji, a brilliant scholar, who had already exhibited his unparalleled brilliance, scholarly brilliance. I also have a deep respect for him. I acknowledge his kind and gracious presence. Then we have Sri Bandu G, who has explicated, in fact, who has discussed the various ins and outs of this book. I do acknowledge his presence with tremendous sense of gratitude. We have Srimati Ramaji, Madam Puspaji, a very venerable lady, and I have devoted a chapter on her, because if Ramaji is very enthusiastic, a very warm sort of person, Puspaji has a tremendous depth. Within the shortest possible time, I could see an immeasurable depth of a lady, the sort of serious demeanor which she so seamlessly carries with herself. Her presence also I acknowledge. We have initially, and of course, Sri Sachidanand Mishra Ji, the Himalini founder editor, who is present with all his friends. I do acknowledge his presence. And last but not the least, all those galaxy of intellectuals from intelligentsia class, whom I might not have a personal acquaintance sentence, but nevertheless, all your presence has been a sine qua non for electrifying the very contour, the very nature of this particular book launch. Because this was a very, very special book launch. As I already articulated, across the geographical boundary of India and Nepal, this is the only book which synchronizes or coincides with that of Honorable Prime Minister Yug Purush, dedicating Sri Ram to humanity. So this is a very, very special occasion, and all your presence adds a historic importance and significance to this book launch. Of course, before I start my speech on book, it becomes important for me to say that initially when I met Ramaji, and as I began unraveling him gradually, I had a sense of skepticism that how Ramaji's legacy can be carried forward. But today, in the presence of all the members, the family members of Pilgrims, I have a satisfaction to say that Rishabh I found a very able successor who can take the mantle of leadership forward with all sort of scholastic knowledge and brilliance. When I have to talk about the book Sanatani Rama, I must express my deep appreciation and gratitude to Sri Indrajit Singh Parmar, who has devised the cover page design and had meticulously done the editing. Sri Ajay Misra ji, who too had taken sufficient care, and all the members of Pilgrims in Varanasi. And later when I travelled here in Kathmandu, I have seen all the Pilgrim members so exhibiting or demonstrating such an unparalleled level of enthusiasm that has given me a deep, it has filled me with all sort of exuberance and all sort of exhilaration. That is something very special occasion for me. Kathmandu, Nepali, Daju, Bhai, Bahin, sabko pranam chha. I have come from India as a Sanatani to extend my greetings the way Swami Vivekananda had addressed all intelligentsia in America, my sisters and brothers of America, to spread the message of Sanatana Dharma. Here, in Kathmandu, the Sanctum Sanctorum, because the government of India has dedicated this great auditorium to the people of Nepal. So speaking from the Sanctum Sanctorum, I greet all my Nepali brethren and all the Sanatanis from across the world, because this is a historic occasion. As I already said, all the distinguished guests who have made their presence felt, who have illuminated and electrified this function by their gracious presence, bears a living testimony to the fact that how important this book launch is. Because with the sort of blowing of conch, with the recitation of Vedas, we have launched today's book. It is historic, and it will remain for thousands of years to come, as Ramaji, Sanatani Rama, is going to be immortalized by this function today for at least 1,000 years, even more. My dear audience, actually you all will be surprised. I wrote this book in 21 days. Ramaji himself said to me publicly that a job or a task which ought to have been achieved or accomplished in 2 years, you did it in 21 days. And even when I wrote my first book on Mr. Modi, which Prime Minister himself launched in Vibrant Gujarat Educational Summit, I wrote the book in 14 days. This I took 21 days. Now, while I was in the process of writing that book, a realization suddenly dawned on me that, oh my God, on 22nd it is going to be a historic day, and see the significance of the day vis-a-vis the book that I was penning. It also had the same title, and in a microcosmic form, the life of Sri Ramanand reflects the kaleidoscopic vision of that of Maryada Purushottam. His journey kick-started from a nondescript village of that of Unnao, and then he was just a mediocre, a very mediocre sort of person, a boy, who did a job of a servant you can say, cleaning the toilets of a bookshop. He learned certain tricks from that of Mr. T.N. Singh. I am so much thankful to Sri Bandu G, who has explicated on the various facets of that of the book. So I wouldn't like to again dwell at length on all those issues which he has already touched. But it becomes all the more important to say that how a man's trajectory, that too from a menial job, doing serving, cleaning the toilet, and then yes, my dear audience, indeed it has been a very, very special pleasure for all of us that no less than Miss Nepal, Madam Sadiksha ji, has taken up this responsibility, rather volunteered to take the responsibility of that of anchoring today. So we are my deep sense of appreciation and gratitude to Miss Nepal, a brilliant lady, because usually we find those who win the laurels of Miss Nepal or Miss India or Miss Universe, they are not that much studious or that much intellectual. But Madam's intellectual depth has been fascinating all of us since the kick-starting of today's session. Thank you, Madam, for your gracious presence. Now, it becomes very important, my dear intellectuals, because book launch is an intellectual celebration. While in Ayodhya today, a spiritual celebration is going on, here in great Republic of Nepal, it is the intellectual celebration. And see, apart from those who are adorning the dais, everyone who is conspicuous by his or her presence is testifying to this fact that how much intellectually we are so much, active, and we are so agile as to be a part of this historic bandwagon. I consider today's journey, today's function as a historic journey. So my dear viewers, my dear audience, it is very important, a simple man, a pedestrian life of Ramanand, a boy Ramanand, how he transformed himself into that of Sanatani Rama. A few facts has to be explicated or has to be articulated to make today's book function genuinely relevant and pertinent. In fact, the beauty, you all would appreciate that why I took fancy of writing a book called Mr. Ramanand. Sanatani Rama has not commissioned me to write a book. I never take any sort of work or assignment from anyone. Whenever I voluntarily feel like writing on somebody, only then I take the initiative of writing on him or her. So seeing the life of Sanatani Rama, after meeting him when he published my book, which was the first book in the country, in the wake of installation of Senegal in the parliament, Narendra Damodar Das Modi, no more apologist, I came in touch with Ramaji, and slowly and gradually his life began unfolding before me. I found that, oh my God, he is a mini Nalanda. You all would know about Nalanda University. It was the sign and symbol of the richness of Sanatana Dharma even in ancient times. How the students from across the world would come to study in Nalanda. And Bakhtiyar Khilji, an invader, just with 18 horsemen as history says, came from across the border and invaded Nalanda and butchered the tens of thousands of students and teachers. And Nalanda was gutted. It was set afire. An entire Nalanda was destroyed. At the microcosmic level, Ramaji's life, Sanatani Rama's life, duplicates that of that incident, historic incident of the Nalanda University. Here in Kathmandu, that is the crucial region reason, or I would say the pivotal cause behind my deciding to go for a book launch here in Kathmandu, it is only because I felt that similar incident happened with Ramaji's Pilgrims book house. In Pilgrims book house, it was in 2013, entire huge sprawling space of Pilgrim book house was destroyed. It was set afire. Millions of books, thousands of artifacts, everything got lost. Any mediocre person, any average individual would just have been heartbroken, would have also might have committed suicide, but not for Ramaji. The billions of Ramanand transforming himself into a Sanatani Rama began from a singular incident. How, instead of feeling morose or getting heartbroken or disheartened, he barely spoke a few lines. Om Agneya Namah, offering oblation to the fire god. That, oh God, you see, in a brilliant movie, Sabyasachi, Bengali, I trace my descent from Kolkata. I have inherited the intellectual legacy of Calcutta and scholarly brilliance of Mithila. So I represent the blend of intellectuality of both these places. There was a movie in Sabyasachi of Uttam Kumar, Mahanayok, we call him Mahanayok. In that movie, Sabyasachi was a freedom fighter. He had collected all arms and ammunition throughout his life, but finally everything he lost. He lost against the British power and everything was destroyed. All wars, everything was destroyed. But then, despite being in the evening of his life, he never gave up. He never quit. Instead, he took a vow that no, I am going to again rebuild from fresh. That was Sanatani Rama. He again built up Pilgrims from scratch. After it was completely gutted, he once again restarted building that Pilgrim book house. And today Pilgrim here in Kathmandu, it is Thamen. It bears a living testimony of that of Sanatani Ramas, that Upanishadic, Atriya Upanishad, one of the very respected lady in India. So after reading the books, he said, Mr. Jha, you have produced the mini Atriya Upanishad. In Atriya Upanishad, it is a charai beti. That never say that it is the last time. Never accept defeat. Life is to go on and forth and forth. You never stop, even though disaster, cataclysm, some sort of apocalypse might engulf you in its narrow tentacles or in its obstacles, but still you continue to move onward towards your journey. That is a charai beti. Entire Sanatani Rama is very much premised on the belief of Atriya Upanishad, charai beti. That is why the life of Sanatani Rama, Ramanand Ji is a past now. It is now by virtue of this book Sanatani Rama, by the grace of Lord Sri Ram, I have already established Ramanand Ji as Sanatani Rama. From today, world will call him as Sanatani Rama because his life, this book is not only on Sanatani Rama. This is book on Onan Dharma. How a mediocre and average man, by following the ideals of Sri Ram, Maryada Purushottam, can live a very fulfilling life, can live a consummate life, that he is the living testimony of this. There is a chapter of Maryada Purushottam. So a small and average man, by reading this book, can draw an inspiration, an infinite inspiration, that how he can, to shape himself into that of a Sanatani. Because today, my dear viewers, Swami Vivekananda 100 centuries ago had prophesied that a time will come after a century when Sanatana Dharma will be re-established, when the glory of Sanatana Dharma will be reinstitutionalized. And see the coincidence. See the coincidence today. Till now, India was soulless. Because Swami Vivekananda had said that soul of Bharatvarsha is Sri Ram. And today, India and the entire Sanatana Dharma has acquired, its soul. That is Sri Ram Lala's temple being consecrated by the Yug Purush Prime Minister of India. That is a glory to Sanatana Dharma. Likewise, in the microcosm, the launch of this book, Sanatana Dharma is nothing but it is an extension of the very effort of that of Honorable Prime Minister and that of bringing glory to Sanatana Dharma. That is why I would like to recommend everyone to read Sanatana Dharma and to know that how as an ordinary man, by following the maryadas of Sri Ram, can be exalted, can after holding the flag of Sanatana aloft, he can rise to the pedestal of his glory. That is the book Sanatana Dharma all about. And before I conclude this particular speech of mine, which was a historic one, because this very function is a historic, as I said, I would just like to, wish all Nepali brethren, in particular India, brethren of Nepal and India in particular, and entire Sanatani civilization across the world, that is the victory to Sanatana Dharma, victory to the humanity, victory to Sanatana Dharma at a microcosmic level. And last, being from Calcutta, I would like to quote this great song of Hemanta Mukhopadhyay, Ami Haslam, Bohu Bhaslam, আমি জীবন জুয়ারে ভাসলাম, আমি বন্যার কাছে ঘূর্ণির কাছে রেখে গেলাম আমার ঠিকানা, ঝড়ের কাছে রেখে গেলাম আমার ঠিকানা. When I was born, the way the tides of life took me, I just went along with it. But much before I leave this world, I have left my footprints behind for the posterity to follow in that footsteps. That is the glory. That is the glory of, everybody should make an effort to leave their trace behind the way Sanatana Dharma has left his trace behind. So Jai Hind, Jai Nepal, Jai to everyone, all Sanatanis, entire humanity. Thanks to all of you.